do I do a video that the topic is deadly serious. Let's put it like that, deadly serious. And most of the time, what I'll do is I'll make a joke out of something, like these eyeglasses, for instance. Now, what you would believe about these eyeglasses and the fact that I put the epoxy compound on the eyeglasses, a 2-part epoxy, what you would believe is that you wouldn't wear them. And that's okay, because you don't put your eyeglasses in and out of your work pants or pocket or shirt or on a work table 200 or 300 times a week, sometimes more. And they're ugly. They're ugly. This is an ugly persona to have. But the reason I did this was because I will show you what I did. I modified my eyeglasses, and what I did was I put wire in 4 places on each eyeglass. One piece of wire down here on this side here. See that little piece of wire? I drilled holes through the lens, and then I took some galvanized safety wire and put it through there and then twisted it. I put another piece here, another piece here, and another piece here. And the reason I did that is because when I'm done with these glasses, I'm going to cut the bottom of this frame off the bottom of the glasses, which may not seem reasonable to some people, but it's necessary, because the title of this video is accurate to the point where I believe all eyeglass companies, whether they are for eyeglasses or sunglasses or just any kind of glasses at all, if they have a frame like this, any kind of a frame at the bottom of the glass, this could lead to an early death. This simple little piece of plastic down here. And now I will show you, I'll give you an example why I believe all companies, all eyeglass companies that have a framed glass should put a warning on their sunglasses or eyeglasses when they sell them, that this could lead to an early death, just like cigarettes, where it could lead to an early death. I'm not exaggerating this fact. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that Readers.com has done anything wrong, except that no eyeglass company sells you eyeglasses that come with a warning of possible early death due to what is called an obstruction of your field of vision. So let me try to make it clear to you which is basically by example. Which pair of eyeglasses, if I show you these 2 eyeglasses, which pair of eyeglasses would you prefer to have on your face when you went out in public or when you were working? Which pair would you prefer? And of course, almost everyone is going to choose the eyeglass on the top, although they're the same eyeglass. They're both 4.0 magnification. They're both built by Readers.com. They both cost the same $12 or $15, and they both were ordered on the same day. They are the same set of eyeglasses. So you would choose the one on top because it doesn't have all that crap on it, does it? Look at that, what a mess. So we could remove some of that, but if when I'm done with this first part of the video in my dissertation on safety first, you'll probably choose these glasses over these glasses if you're going to be in a work environment or if you have any common sense at all. And that's rare in this world. So I would like to welcome my new Patreon member if he's here, but I'll find out later. And thank you. I won't say his name unless he chooses to become a public name, but I wish to thank you if you are here. This is for multiple reasons, but this pair of glasses is much safer than this pair. So let's get on with Readers.com. Readers.com is probably the best place I've ever bought reading glasses from. First of all, their selection is as large of a selection, colors, frame styles, everything. The quality of the product. This pair of glasses is now going on 5 years old, and I wear them every day. So Readers.com has probably the best, and they'll tell you next day delivery in the United States, and sure enough, it's definitely within 48 hours. The prices, can't beat the prices, can't beat the quality of the lens. For Readers.com, this lens has a field of vision. If you look down, if you look to the right or to the left or look up, everything is still in focus, given the field of vision that you're going to get out of a pair of reading glasses. In other words, if I wish to read this can, well, let's see, which ones do I have on? I think I have 5s on. I want to put 4s on to read that can close up. Okay, so if I wish to read this can, your field of vision is where the can is, but if I put the can down here like this, down low where you can't see it, I can still see, by looking downward, I can still see the lettering, left, right, or up, the same thing. So Readers.com glasses, when you look through them, you can see properly from every point of view. The other companies, they'll sell you a pair of glasses a little bit less expensive or even half the price, but the field of vision is just the center portion of the lens itself. And the rest of it, if you look out of that field of vision, it's distorted. So Readers.com makes the best quality, the hardest and scratch-proof lens, the best frames, and they're probably the best price for the product. However, again, I'm going to ask Readers.com to put a warning on their label. All glasses, all sunglasses worldwide. This should be something that changes worldwide, because this is a serious. I'm being serious now. I'm not being. As a jet mechanic, one of the first things that we learn as a jet mechanic, every day, before every lesson, before you do anything in training to become an airframe and power plant jet mechanic, anybody who is one will tell you that what I'm about to say is true. The first thing you do is, if you're going to learn how to do safety wire, because there's a lot of wiring done on these glasses, and I did it to pretty much the code of an aircraft safety wiring. I used aircraft quality duckbills, okay, and I used the aircraft quality nippers. So the first thing that you're going to learn as an A&P jet mechanic is how to not get hurt on the job that you're going to learn how to do. So with safety wire, just to give you, for instance, because I used a lot of safety wire on these glasses, You can see it in several places where it's still showing through a little bit, like right there. I didn't get enough glue on this piece here. The first thing that you're going to learn when you're doing safety wiring, this is the first thing. Today's lesson is safety wiring. The first thing that you're going to do is, when you have the wire in your hand, is you bend over that piece of wire like that on the end. So it's not like a needle. If this pokes you in the eye, it'll puncture your eye or your skin. If I took this like this and jabbed it into the back of my hand would definitely bleed. However, if it somehow I smashed my hand into it like that, it's gonna bleed. But this is the first thing that you learn when you handle any wire, any stiff wire, safety wire, any kind of wire, is you bend it over like that, and now you can pretty much smash it around any way you want. But the other way, it's going to punch a hole in you. So the first thing that you learn in aviation training is safety. So a long time ago, I realized, when I say a long time ago, I mean back in the 70s, I realized that when you're wearing glasses, this rim at the bottom of the glass, it's an obstruction. So if you put your hand here like this, the obstruction is minimal. It's just about 1/8 of an inch. However, as you look forward and face further away from you, this little bit of 1/8 inch obstruction, about 5 feet in front of your body, becomes an obstruction of about 6 to 8 inches. So that means that when you're walking, you could miss seeing an extension cord, a rock, especially a rock, or even the curb and where to put your foot. So you are actually obstructing your field of view or vision. And so in order to understand this, you can take your hand and put your hand down low at your height of your waist and hold it level or parallel to your eye view, and you'll see that your hand disappears. In other words, you'll see your hand here, but then when the lens comes in front of your hand, you won't see your hand. And the further away is the wider the blocking of the field of view. Now, most people never realize this, but when I was working in construction, on my job, I didn't care about your personal preference. Nobody could wear sunglasses, even though we worked out on the ocean. No sunglasses allowed, because there are cords and ropes, and that blocked the field of vision. So you weren't allowed to do a lot of things on my job. You weren't allowed to come in late. You weren't allowed to not show up the next day. I mean, that was definitely a no-no. So there was, I had a lot of rules for safety first. So, and if you didn't follow them, you just needed to get a new job. It wasn't complicated. It was pretty simple. So what we're going to do now is we're going to eliminate this guy, Michael Fazio. Let's see. Okay, adios, Michael Fazio. Let me tell you something, dude. We're talking about death, the possibility of death from from a blockage, from field of vision. What a coincidence that you should pop up putting this shit on my screen. So, let's see, we're going to hide you now. So you're gone, and let's see, what did that? Yeah, that all disappeared. See, people like you in real life, when you worked for me, your life expectancy as a worker was about, I would say it would be in the minutes. Like the first time, your first snide remark that you made about me on my construction site, you needed a new job. See, we didn't have a democratic society on my construction site. And you're probably, well, I don't want to make a guess who you are, but I'll tell you something. On my construction site, if you didn't like the way I did stuff, you needed a new job. I would just reach into my pocket or my wallet, and I would say, how many hours did you work so far? And then I would cut you loose and pay you for your time. And for that type of an offense, to break my chops on purpose, you would never, ever, no matter how hard up you were for a job, for the rest of your life, you'd never get a job on my construction site. And I had a lot of people working for me. And a lot of people didn't like working for me, but they worked for me because they learned the trade. So when I say your life expectancy would be, as far as work is concerned, would be minimal, you'd be gone in seconds if you started doing snide remarks like that. But also, you got to understand something. If I'm operating a piece of heavy equipment and you frustrate me, could be catastrophic. Could be catastrophic if I can't focus on what I'm doing. And you're the kind of guy that causes those catastrophic events to occur. And in real life, that's the last thing you want to do, is break the crane operator or the track hoe or the backhoe operator's chops. So even though you thought you were funny, and you'll probably come back underneath another name, in real life, why is it that there are so many people out there that have something to say about me, make fun of me, and yet when I walk through anywhere I walk ever, my whole life, nobody ever says that shit to your face? Why is that? I don't know why that is. You take a guess. But let me tell you, talking about your life expectancy, break the crane. Nobody breaks the operator's chops, because the operator needs to focus on what he's doing. And the operator will let you know if he's not happy with the results, your attitude. I've seen some crazy shit happen in my life. I've watched people die by the operator making a mistake. I don't know if it was a real mistake or a fake mistake, but I've seen people see the thickness of this piece of metal. There was a guy named Charlie. He was a great operator. And there was another guy named, I think his name was Bob. And Bob used to take off. Bob liked to smoke pot. And this was a union job, so you really weren't supposed to smoke pot on a union job, not during the day for sure. But Bob would do that anyway. So he would always take off like a minute or so before the break. Everybody knew what time the break was, but he would always take off to smoke pot. And he would take his lunch with him or his snacks with him. I'm a little bit off topic, but this is a true story. But this is to that guy, Michael Fazio, that's breaking my chops. This is what happens to people that don't follow the rules. Now, I'm being serious about this. So that when you're working under a load, and that's the right terminology. Louis Pagan Ponce, I'll get to your comment in a moment. Thank you for stopping by. The rules are, don't go under a load. Don't walk under the load. Do not walk under the load. If you need to move the load, put a tagline on it. If you don't know what a tagline is, well, you don't know construction. But the last thing you want to do is be under a load. There's so many things that could go wrong. If you're working under an excavator and a hose blows, the boom or the stick can fall, the bucket can open up, crush you. When you're working under heavy equipment like that, you don't get injured. It turns you into tomato juice. So this guy, Michael Fazio, that's breaking my chops, that probably wouldn't listen to instructions on a job, reminds me of this guy Bob and this piece of metal. Because what Bob would do is he would light up his marijuana joint, spliff, blunt, whatever you want to call it, and then he would take off into the woods or go down the block, walk down the block. So but nobody ever noticed that Bob was missing when he would disappear. He'd come back on time when lunch ended, but he would disappear. So Charlie was making a pick. Now I know Charlie didn't do this on purpose, but this is what this guy Michael Fazio that's breaking my chops, it reminds me of. It reminds me of what happened to Bob, because when you're breaking somebody's chops, the operator can do a lot of damage if he wants. So Charlie was picking up a 1 1/4 inch steel plate, about 10 feet in width and 20 feet long. It's called a street plate. And the reason we had street plates is we were digging, we were putting in a pipe in Mamaroneck for a sewer outflow from a sewer treatment plant in Mamaroneck, and it had to go. It went from the sewage treatment plant out through Mamaroneck Harbor and then out into the ocean a certain amount of feet or half a mile, something like that. And what we were doing was we was digging the trench for that pipe. And then as you dig the trench, you dig down. You guys have never been in a, you look at those little 8-inch sewer pipes that you see a trench like 6 feet deep or 8 feet deep, and you think that's a trench. We were in real trenches. We were 60 feet down from the roadbed, and there's the whole process. One day I'll explain the process to crib it out, but any dock builder would know what I just said. It's really dangerous down there. And and as you dig the trench, when you get the trench dug to the depth that you want, you get your waffle sheeting in, you get your knees on, you weld your knees in place, and you put all your cribbing and your backing, whatever structural boards. And the beams we were using in that trench were 30-inch by 30-inch. We called it sewer oak, and they would snap easily if you didn't put them in right. But anyway, so Bob, it was almost break time. Charlie was making a pick, and he picks up this sheet. Now you got to remember, the sheet it's a big sheet. So let's just say this is the sheet. And Charlie has one chain on the number 1 wire. And we were using a core-ring, the 666, the Beast. So it picks the sheet up like it's nothing. It has a 6-yard rock bucket on it to dig rock. I mean, it's a huge machine. Comes in on a truck. Huge machine. So he has this piece of steel up like this, and he was swinging it over towards. He took it off the truck, and then he brought it down low to the ground, because that's what you do. And he was swinging it over towards where he was going to stack it, and the chain broke. This is why you don't stand under a load. And the chain broke. And when the chain broke, it came down, it hit the tarmac, and then it flopped forward like this, away from the machine. And then it was lunchtime. we decided we'll leave that there until after lunch. Well, Bob was apparently Bob. You could tell I didn't like Bob much. He wasn't really the best worker on the crew. But anyway, Bob was on the other side of this plate, and when it fell down, it fell onto Bob. So after lunch, we had to put another chain on the plate, and when we walked over to because we were all on this side. You don't go where the operator can't see you. So basically, Bob is over here, and the operator can't see him from this side. You want to be in the operator's field of vision. So when it fell down, we went to put a chain on this side again, and we saw blood coming. It was just all over. It was splattered all over the whole road. And Bob was under this steel plate, which weighed about 8 or 9 tons. And Bob was this thick. That's how thick Bob was. He was 1/8 of an inch thick, except for his wallet and his boots. when, when we picked up the plate, his wallet expanded to about 3/8 of an inch, and his boots, they swelled up a little bit too. But Bob was this thick. So that's what that guy Michael Fazio reminds me of. Pissing off the operator, and the operator has an accident. Catastrophic. So let me finish my train of thought. Let's see. Fazio here at the airport, about to board a plane home from my assignment. Dude, while everyone here is looking at Facebook on their phones, I'm looking at the best entertainer since Sinatra. See ya. All right, well, Louis Pagan Ponce, thank you. Hello, Andrew. I left you a message. I got back on Skype, but it was hard to do that. Thank you for stopping by. So, now I was talking about the field of vision and why all eyeglass companies should put a warning. Eyeglasses with frames can cause death. So, what appears to be just this much of a blockage, if I'm looking at my hand, if you were to put this piece of metal here in my hand, that's how much it would block. About that thickness of the metal. But at 5 inches away, that's how much it would block. But as you go 6 or 7 feet away, it blocks 6 or 7 inches. So go figure 1 inch per foot. So at 8 feet, it starts to come back into the field of vision. You actually wrap around because of the way light bends. But your field of vision right in front of your feet, 4 feet in front of your feet, is a blackout of about that much. So that's why I'm doing this, I'm putting the glue and the wire on my glasses. So these are almost ready, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut the bottom of these frames off like this. So even though these are really, this is an ugly frame, no doubt about it. No, this stuff doesn't need to be on there anymore. The glue has dried. I put crazy glue on there. So the glue is dry on there. I need 2 more bottles of crazy glue, but I can take the clamps off. I didn't mean to laugh about Bob, but I don't like people that smoke pot, especially on the job. I never could understand smoking pot on a job, and I never smoked pot on the job. Pot makes you stupid. I don't care what anybody thinks. Hey, Scott. Dennis Adams is here? Maybe he's hiding. I don't see Dennis Adams. I hope that he stops by. I sent him a message this morning when I got back on there. Dennis, hello. So these glasses here, what you're looking at. These are a lot safer than these glasses with the frames. So what I did was I put wire on here, and I used epoxy to strengthen the frames. Now it did strengthen them quite a bit. You know, the flexing of the glasses, the amount of flexing is minimal. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to take this X-Acto saw, and I'm going to cut the bottom of the frame out about the same place I cut out on the other pair of glasses, which is right about where the glue ends. So you don't want to cut into the... You know what I could do? I think I have a shop, a work... I think I have a drill press vise right above me. I could put these in a drill press vise. Yes, torsional rigidity. That's it. The torsion. That's like a torsion bar on a car. And Scott, that UV glue that you were talking about yesterday, I woke up this morning and was laughing because you said it would be good if I had UV glue yesterday, and I really didn't relate to that because I never saw that. We don't have stuff like that. You don't go in the Philippines down the aisle and see UV glue. But what I did and had used, the dentist that did my dental work, he uses that purple. He puts the epoxy in your teeth, and he uses the light to harden it up. So that I've seen it work in real life. It actually, it's an amazing thing, but it did work. So yeah, I know the UV glue, and now they're using that in dentistry, but my dentist does anyway. That was interesting. So yeah, I remember that dental work thing that the dentist did. He kept putting a light in my mouth, and I kept saying, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is he putting that light in my mouth for? Well, the light was for here it is. Okay, the light, I can put the glasses in my little shop vise here, and then that would be the right way to work. Real men have real tools, you know. And yeah, he put that thing he put the glue in my mouth, and then he was sticking this light in my mouth, and I could see the light, and I'm going, what is that? And it was a UV light, and he showed me how it worked, and that was probably 3 years ago. That's why I didn't remember it offhand. Okay, so I'm gonna so again, just to rework this video a little bit. Never, as soon as you take a roll of wire, safety wire, as soon as you unfurl it, uncoil it, unfurl it, uncoil it, whatever, the first thing you do, whether it's a copper wire that you're working on in your house, if you're going to use it, the first thing you do is just take a pair of duckbills or a needle nose plier and bend over the wire 180 degrees. And this way, it's not a needle waiting to poke you in the eye or in your hand or wherever. That's what we call safety first in the airlines. Now, anybody that is an A&P jet mechanic will tell you you could get fired for not bending over the wire. Now, I don't know how it is in today's world, but when I did my practical for my power plant license, after I fixed the float in an acrobatic carburetor with 5,000 parts in that carburetor, I didn't take them all apart to get to the floats, but there were 5,000 parts and shims and needles and stuff in there, because an acrobatic carburetor is one of those planes that can fly straight up or straight down or upside down. that has 4 floats in the carburetor. And the carburetor was probably about 14 inches long and 12 inches deep and 10 inches high. The float mechanism in the carburetor, the actual carburetor, so it had 4 floats. So no matter what configuration the plane was in, the fuel distribution was properly distributed. So safety first. So that's why we're removing this. And I really mean to Readers.com. I think they should change the rules worldwide because of what I just have told you about the lenses blocking the vision. So let's take this shop vise here and let's put the, let's figure out a way to put these glasses in this shop vise. Okay, let's see. Let's get this over here. I want to move this back a little bit. Okay, I'll put this over here. That works. Okay, now what I need is a rag. Something soft. So we'll use this. And we'll wrap it around. Do I want to use this? You know what? I have something better than this. Okay. I have one of my industrial grade socks. Because soon I'll be able to put my boots on again. My leg is healing. Yeah, the eyeglass industry they need to change the way they advertise. I'm talking about the whole world. It should be a warning like, due to Michael Fazio's video on the channel Alpha Male Construction Videos, we, the eyeglass industry of the world, have changed the way we advertise eyeglasses and sunglasses. Thank you, Michael Fazio, for your contribution to mankind. How many lives you have saved is not possible to recognize at this point. So in advance, we thank Michael Fazio for his knowledge in safety. So this is an X-Acto blade. And I'm going to cut the frame out of the bottom. I'm going to get a magnifying glass. I'm going to cut the frame out of the bottom of this glass. I'm going to have to put the magnifying glass down. What I need is more light. Okay, let's do that. That's much better. This X-Acto blade has to be, I got this when I was in high school, so 1973. It's 47 years old, this X-Acto blade. Now, on top of this, there's one more process after this blade, after we do this with the blade. It has no more setback on the teeth. That's why it's a little bit jamming up a little bit. That's okay then. So we did that one side there, and we did that, and now we're going to do this side here. Now you'll be able to hear when it hits the plastic, or feel it. It'll feel different. So now that one hit the plastic already. Okay, now it should, theoretically, it should pop off. As soon as I get just a little bit more there, a little bit more there. Yeah, the whole entire eyeglass and sunglass industry should change and put a warning, a Michael Fazio warning, that Michael Fazio was the person that made the world aware that you can die from wearing glasses with a thick. Okay, that's not it yet. Okay, I could pop it off with that, but I might open up the rest of the, I might pull it off a little bit too hard and pop off something from that I don't want it to pop off. Okay, it should pop off now. And then we're going to do one more thing after this. I'm going to file down. Not yet. Why is this? Okay, let's just take a look at this one. It's only flat to the bottom. Okay, it should have come off. Well, I guess I just didn't cut down deep enough yet. Definitely cut down enough on that side. Alright, I think it'll pop now. Yeah, okay. Ah, okay, I can see one little area here, not through. I changed the angle of attack there. Now I could see why. Okay, now it's off. Hand tight there, that's good. And this is the same one on here. There's a little reveal, little reset there. Okay, so there we go. So that's the bottom frame. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is, this has a ridge, a little ridge on it, a step. This particular model of eyeglass is a little different than the other ones. I guess they modified them from the time. It's the same model number, but it's a little bit, the frame is, the glass is manufactured a little differently. So let's just get the let's get where did it go? Oh, here it is, right here. Let's get the other side off. We'll do the same thing for both sides. Eyeball that up right there. That's about right. Okay. I think I'll take 1/16 of an inch of the glue off in both places. Okay. So here we go. First we have to move. Okay. Okay, that worked out nice. Now we'll cut this. Now this is a back cut saw, it's not a forward cut saw. So it takes the material off when you're pulling it back towards you. There's a reason for that, but I don't want to get involved with why and how a saw works right now. Let's see. Yes, okay, so we did have a, we did get a, I did, and you people, some of you helped, and got a new Patreon subscriber for I think a very generous donation to my Patreon account. If you're here and you'd like to say hello and let people know who you are, that you're welcome to do that. But typically I leave that up to you. If you want to become, if you become a member of my Patreon account and you wish the people to know that, that's up to you. Thank you for the pledge. Okay. Now this one we did right, yeah? And then over here we'll do the same thing. And the next step, we're going to remove that lip from the bottom of the bottom of the lens itself. The lip. There it is. Okay, so we have the bottom of the lip off of there. And now the next thing, the next problem with these glasses, and I'll show you why I'm going to do what I'm going to do, is this edge here. Well, let me take a look on this, because it is a different shape than the other one. Actually, it'll be okay. Okay, so this is done. Now the only thing that I have left to do with this is to put more epoxy on this, to cover up what I didn't cover up, and also I'm gonna bridge this area here. Let me put my glasses on. Okay, I'm going to bridge this area here with a toothpick, one on this side, one in the middle, and one on the back, for more rigidity, because they will snap if you sit on them. And with the three toothpicks, they will have a tendency not to snap, hopefully. So the next thing that we're going to do here is I'm going to mix. No, I'm going to take the. Okay, this one has the bottom cut out. This one's done. This one has the bottom cut out. I think the ones I have on would be next. Well, I didn't put wire on these, so these might just be my glasses for my table here. Because at the computer it's okay. So Yeah, let's see. What about using the sections of the removed frame? That would be an excellent idea. However, and you know what? That is an excellent idea. Thank you, Scott. But the one thing that you have to do, if that works out perfect, look at that. Thank you, Scott. The one thing that you have to do when you're putting this piece of plastic together to this piece of plastic is you have to rough this up with some sandpaper, or I'll use the back of that X-Acto blade and rough this up, because to just put this epoxy on here, it doesn't peel off so easy, but it eventually, from the torsional twisting of the glasses, this would pop off. So I think that's a great idea, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do with that, and the other one as well. Thank you. And okay, so this one fits already, yeah? Okay, let's put this in here and prepare. I'll scratch that. I'll scratch the sheen off of there. With this. Wow. That piece, look at the way that piece fits in there. It looks like somebody engineered it and sent it to me. Look at that. Look at how that fits in there. It's exactly the right size. The other one's a little bit long for the other pair of glasses, but for this one it's perfect. And you want to get a little bit around the front here, so when the glue wraps around that, it locks it in. It it has something to adhere to. Scott. Oh, in case you don't know, Scott is very mechanically inclined. He's not the average human being. He puts his own wooden floors in. He does his own electrical work. Fixes his own plumbing. He rides a Harley Davidson. I'm sure he has many skills involving repairs and maintenance on his motorcycle. So that's why Scott came up with that really cool idea. In your face, baby. Thank you. Yeah, that was a no-brainer, really. Looking for material that's compatible with the other material, and I had it in my hand and didn't see it. Okay, so that piece is scratched off proper. Now we'll just take this, and I'm going to do all around 360 degrees and scratch this up. So the glue that wraps around it will adhere to it on all sides. And the ends are cut, so you don't have to scratch the ends up. They're already cut. Yeah! Yeah, baby. Okay, that'll be for there. That works nice. Okay. Yeah, that is serendipitous. to the closet dweller. Serendipitous means that something that was meant to be. We know you're out there, closet dweller. We know you're closet dwelling. You probably, when you saw me scratching this like this, in all likelihood, I would imagine that when you saw me scratch that piece with the X-Acto knife, you're doing something that probably wouldn't be able to be videotaped in your closet. Okay, so now, so that's that, and well, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna make a plop. I'm gonna make some glue. I'm gonna glue a few things today, and then I'm gonna put the mothballs. I'm gonna put my wing bay that I made when I was getting my airframe license. I'm gonna put that in the that fits perfect. So I'll just scratch this other one up now in advance. The closet dweller still hasn't shown us any of his work, his workmanship, his craftsman skills, his ability to do anything mechanical or physical. Talks up a good storm, though. Talks up a good storm. Still has never shown anybody him doing any actual physical work. Nothing, ever. Not even, nothing. Well, yeah, one day he was pretending to be a gardener, but he doesn't know how to do that either. Okay, so this is the second piece. I'm going to put that on my keypad there. And then now I wish to make let's see. Well, I could make the other one. No, I can't make it now. I could. Uh-oh. We got a 2-inch spider wasp in here floating around. This one has to get cut down. All right. Okay, let me get the second one programmed ready for the let me get the second one ready for it. That's not it. Alrighty. Which one is this? This one is this one, right? Yes, okay. So this one goes there. This goes over there. Then we're going to take this and put it in here. Now, because I bent this wire, or because the holes on this one are closer to the center, the piece I cut out of the bottom is going to have to be shortened up a little bit. Actually, if I was a real modeler, I would notch out for the wire. I might do that anyway. I have a vise, right? I can do that. Okay, so I cut a 1/4 inch off of here, a 1/4 inch off the length, okay? A 1/4 inch off the length off of this. Let's do some modeling. Let's do modeling. Yeah, the closet dweller. How's that closet dwelling shit working out for you there, buddy? Where are you now? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, it would take the bend. Yes, Scott, but the it's not a question of the bend at all. It is a see this piece of wire here, right where my finger is. Oh boy, I lost it. Oh, it's too long. The wire interferes with the length, not. Okay, yeah, the wire interferes with the length. So I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna notch out for the wire. I'm gonna leave the wire there, and I'm just gonna notch. I'll notch it out. I have a modeling. Well, this isn't really a modeling vise, but I have a vise that will allow me to notch out, back notch it, back cut it, and leave the wire right where it is, and just notch out this piece of plastic. Without a vise, with a pair, you could do it with vice grips. You could eventually file it down with a razor blade, but I'm not, not going to spend. But being that I have not exactly a modeling vise, but I have this vise, I'll make a notch on the back of this piece of plastic here, and just set it right over the center of the wire, and that will make it strong. It'll lock it in there, because this epoxy, like you said yesterday, you could still work with this epoxy, so it's still a little bit, it's not quite hard yet. So all I did was just trim the epoxy off the wire, and I left the wire there. So now on the back of that piece of plastic, I'm going to go a quarter inch, and notch it back a quarter inch. So I'm going to put this here like this. So I have to find center. I don't want to cut in the center. I want to cut off center. You know what? I get a kick out of like that, whoever that it was that was leaving nasty messages about my infection on my foot and shit like that. I get a kick out of these people in some ways, and that what have they shown anybody in real life of what their skill sets are, whether it be whether they could install pools or fix a bicycle flat or something. What have they shown the people? Now, I show a lot of people a lot of stuff and how to do a lot of stuff, and I have a lot more knowledge of the Philippines than most of these. You got these shit healers on YouTube that come on and talk about what it's like living here in the Philippines. They don't know anything about the Philippines. They moved to the Philippines 2 or 3 years ago. The place they moved to is the place they're living now. They've never been anywhere else except for a 1 or 2 day vacation. They don't actually enjoy the benefits of most of the Philippines by going scuba diving or traveling, walking through the forests or anything like that. They talk about apartment rentals. How much does it cost to rent an apartment? Well, I don't know if that's important shit. I mean, it's not important to me. But that's what they talk about. That's their whole topic matter. Or they make fun of other people. But they themselves have no skill sets. Now, I got a pretty good idea of who it is. But I can't say that because I don't know it to be true. But if I ever, well, the guy is never going to walk up to me and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. He's never going to do that. Even when I'm old and gray and frail, still not going to do it. Well, I mean, he might. I guess if he feels really lucky, he might. But for the most part, they'll never do that. And they're making fun of me. I had a guy the other day. I want to show you. I keep trying to tell you what it's like living here in the Philippines. So, before I make a video of the goat herder, a man, not the woman, not the lady I call the goat lady, who's a really sweetheart, but she's a goat herder. She's very simple, minimal. These are not she has an education. She went to high school. I actually know that for a fact. But minimal understanding of what it's like outside of this province. In fact, I've met people that live where I live. Two of the members of the family that I rented this property from, in order for me to rent this property, I made all the immediate family sign the lease, because this way, if one person transfers over their wealth or their lease, or if one person dies and the lease is transferred over to the next person, I have all the members of the 6 members of the immediate family on the lease agreement signed and notarized by my lawyer, which makes it legal. So 2 of the people in the family had never been to Tagbilaran City. Never. They've never been. Well, that I was told that. I don't know that it's true, but that's what I was told. Okay, Scott, here is the piece. And I notched out the back here. See the notch? And I put the notch right over that piece of wire like that and pressed this down, and it locked it right in place. Like a little notch, a lock notch. Not the lock next month, but a lock notch. That's right, Scott. Yeah, I had no control over how my foot got infected, and I could go on and on about that forever. But first of all, that piece of shit that made fun of me, my leg, or the infection on my, and the other piece of shit that lives in a closet that's been making fun of my leg, and the other piece of shit that says he's coming to my house, but he so far he hasn't gotten here yet. And the other piece of shit that makes fun of where I live. Well, and the other piece of shit that makes fun that I got infected from my own, that 6'7" piece of shit that said I got my leg probably got infected because my house is filthy and the germs. You should all know that there are more germs on your computer keyboard or the handle to your refrigerator than there are basically on a toilet bowl or on a toilet bowl seat. There are more germs in your girlfriend's mouth than exist on my toilet bowl or my toilet bowl seat. But that being said, for them to make a definite that knowledge that I got the infection from my toilet bowl or from my kitchen counter, or that piece of shit in a video called She Got Bling. He said I had. We're bringing that video to court, by the way. That's the one that's going to be used against you. He said that I had some sort of flesh-eating bacteria on my foot, and that's how I got infected. Well, that piece of shit has already made videos about how the Philippines septic system is, when you walk through the streets on a rainy day, all the sewers overflow with septic water. So all of these pieces of shit that said that the infection came from my quote unquote my bathroom or my unsanitary living conditions, well, every time it rains in the Philippines forever since I got here, every day it rains hard, all the sewers overflow. You could have 8 or 10 inches of puddles in the street. It smells like septic water. It is infestation of septic water. It is overflowing sewer water. And it could have come from that. It could have come from going in the ocean and there was a discharge of septic water somewhere into the ocean from the hotels. But there's no definitive way to know where and how I got injured. But to make fun of that injury, that could be that it is sick, as Scott said, but in real life, I don't see it happening. I pray for the day that somebody walks up to me and discusses that in that fashion. I pray for that day. I want that to happen. I want it to happen. And I don't care if it's in a public place or not. Better that you bring 2 or 3 people with you when you're about to spout that shit off. This way, you'll have witnesses. Yeah, that is a sick bastard that makes fun of. Now, no one in the world, not the doctors, not the culture that they took. There is no infection according to the doctors and the culture. Of course, there is an infection. But these pieces of shit that make fun of my infection on my leg, no one knows where the infection came from or how. Of course, the fucking closet dweller, he says I have diabetes, but I don't. And that's been tested now twice. So he knows everything. He's in for a fucking surprise, that motherfucker. And the closet dweller, what could he possibly know living in a closet? He's living in a closet. What could he possibly have to offer society from a closet? He's never offered anything to society, just bullshit and lies. But there's nobody that knows how my leg got infected, because the actual test results came back as there is no infection in the blood work. There was no infection in the culture. So nobody knows where it came from or how it got there. So now Scott says, the frailer I get, the sharper my knife will be. But when I've been hitting the workouts pretty regular, not very frail yet. Perfect, my idea, and your skills will go far. That's right. And so you people that make fun of me, why is it that, can you get somebody to come here? Can you get somebody to come here and do it in person? Can you do that, please? Then we'll be in for some viral videos. I will tell you that, or certainly headlines. That'll happen as well. So now, let me get my glue mixing thing. Yeah, we could do that. Get the glue. We need the big knife. Here it is. Okay, we're gonna put the mix of this I think I'll start a new mixing tray here. Okay, I need 2 daubers. Okay, I got 2 new daubers right there. One for one for the other. We'll do blue first, then we'll do red. All right, there is something I wanted to mention. The person that was on a ripping tear for a week, whose name we won't mention, when I asked him to stop and I told him I would stop also if he stopped, apparently he stopped. So thank you for that, number one. And number two, he did ask, well, he did mention in a video that if you go to my homepage of the Alpha Male Construction Videos homepage, if you go there, what you're going to see is me operating a backhoe, and it tells you that I'm building a white sand beach in what was once a dolphin tidal pool in Isla Mirada. And the owner of that dolphin tidal pool is the physical Guapo! Guapo! Mayan buntag! Salamat! The owner of that tidal pool that I built the beach for his children is the owner of Bass, B-A-S-S, Bass Fishing Supplies and Bass Boats. He is the actual owner of the property that I did the job on. And he directly hired me and paid me through his property manager, but I was okayed to work on the property by the owner of Bass Pro Shops, or at least his legal team, because I had to have a certain amount of bond for that job. But anyway, the guy that was breaking my chops, who stopped, thank you by the way, he mentioned something that was a good point. He said that I said that job was going to be a tidal pool with a beach for the man's children, and the finished product was going to be a white sand beach, and the rocks were going to be moved back and everything like that. And he said that I never supplied videos for proof of that. But if you look in the description box of that video on my homepage, there is the video of me removing the first few rocks. Then there's over 75, 80 hours of me digging the pond out, which I did not put public because you're not allowed to do that. And then me moving back the rocks on cutting out, like making it wider, and then grading a beach into it. He said there was no proof that I finished the job, that I started the job and I never finished it. But if you look in the description box of the video, there's 2 links from my Hoodwinked by an Angel page of the finished product, of the white sand and the beach, where I leveled it out to become a beach. Not only did I do that job there, but I did a lot more work on the property, most of which could not have been videotaped. Although I have videotape of it, I would never put it on YouTube. But there are 2 videos in the description box to show you the finished product of that white sand beach that I said I was building on the channel video trailer. And then in the comments section, I put the both links in the comments section about 2 or 3 weeks ago as well. So I don't know what he's talking about where I didn't show any finished product, because not only did I show a finished product, but I put the links there. All right, so I don't know what you're saying, Scott. I want to get this mixed. So I did supply people with links. I mean, when I made the video, do you think I was going to know that I was going to say, look for the rest of the links in the description box of the finished product? No, because, well, people that know me know when I start something, I usually finish it, number one, so theoretically I wouldn't need proof, but I'm operating a piece of heavy equipment. I'm not thinking about something a channel I'm going to post this video on 9 years later. But the video links for that finished product are in the description of the channel trailer video, number one. They're in there, and they're also in the comments section. So for those of you who doubt whether or not the job ever got finished, the finished white sand beach is available there in one of the links for you to go watch. And the video of just before the white sand was installed on the beach itself, that's there too. So you people that make fun of me and all this other happy horse shit, I guess it's your prerogative to do that, but probably not a good thing at the end of the day. Okay, so I'm going to concentrate on this little product that I have here for a minute. Okay, so that's got to go there. Okay. That's it, baby. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit up on the top of that, and I'll let it roll off on its own accord. That'll smooth out by itself. You know what I could do? I'll put a little on the ends to beef it up. Now I'm not going to tell you that this is pretty, because it's not pretty, but it is effective, and it will do what I mentioned or wanted to do. But I'm not I'm not a modeler, and if I was a modeler, I would have more tools and a little more patience with what I'm doing. So that's done. Now let's get the other one. Let's see what we got here. I'm not going to read the comments because I have this epoxy setting. It's going to go off soon, and I'm not going to read the comments just yet. I want to put more. Man, I got shit everywhere now. Okay. I'm trying to put enough epoxy on here to actually build strength. Now, how much of it will want to walk off of here or roll off, I don't know. I'm going to probably have to keep track of it when I get the other set of glasses. So for now, that's what we got for this one. And I'll just put this over here, someplace where it won't matter if it drips a little bit. You know how I like to keep everything neat and clean, yeah? So where's the other pair of glasses? Here it is right here. There's the other pair of glasses. Now, we need the other piece of plastic. Okay, so let's put the pair of glasses in here. I think I should turn this over so I don't get the glue from one on the other. And in order to not get the glue on there at all, I could do this. Yeah, that guy that was making fun of the infection on my foot, you would think he would say, oh, geez, look, you know, that Fazio, he's pretty smart. But no, see, they want to be an asshole. And in real life, they will never do that. They will never do it in real life. If you follow that guy's, if you could follow that channel back to wherever it came from, the comment, you'd find that there's no content on the channel. I really believe YouTube and Google should make you put, if you want to have a channel, you should have to put your name of the channel, whatever you want your name to be, that's cool. But you should have to have somewhere, somebody should be able to push a button and see not just your channel name, but your address and your telephone number, where you live, and you should have to have at least one video with your face in it. Now, I know that's a ridiculous thing to ask for, but that's what I believe should happen. Because these people that put all this crap on YouTube, making fun of people, calling them gay, or fat, obese, unhealthy, diseased, all that shit, you should be accountable for that. And the people, eventually that's what they may do. I mean, they're talking about this new China regulations on the internet, and maybe they'll make people do that. Hopefully they'll make people put their real name and their real address on their channel. This way, that guy who was saying that his foot's infected, he doesn't know what he's doing, and this, that, and the other. This way, if you wanted to go, you know, see the guy and talk to him about this in person, you could do that. I mean, I think that's reasonable. Somebody calls you a diseased, a disgusting, overly obese, diseased person, you should be able to have a conversation about that in real life. Not on the internet and not in the comments section. Just do it, you know, the way our ancestors would have did it. 10 pieces with pistols, if you wanted to do it like that, or choose your weapons, go have at it. But don't just come on here like some little girl and make fun of people. That's just not right. I try not to do that to other people unless they do it to me first, and then, you know, well, such is life, right? Okay, so what we got here, let's see what I got on this one. Do I have, yeah, well, this is a 5, right? That's a 4. And this is what, 5? That's a 5. Well, I'm going to use it on the 5 anyway. Toothpick time. Okay, so okay, let me get some more. I'll get to the comments in a minute, but right now I can't. So if someone came in, or my new Patreon member came in, if you wanna tell people that you're my Patreon member, that's okay, but I won't do that. So I did get a new Patreon member, very generous membership pledge. Thank you. And if you make comments, I'd welcome those comments or questions. My new Patreon member, you are welcome to ask any questions about not only what I'm doing here now, but if you have questions about the Philippines itself, where to live, how to get a proper, find a proper place to live, how much it costs for your if you have to pay immigration fees, how much that is. I can give you a lot of basics, and if you really want to move to the nicest place in the Philippines, I know that everybody's going to say, Bohol is the nicest island that I have visited in general, not the nicest island of the Philippines. Probably, for all that I've read, Mindanao has the most diverse and interesting and most beautiful beaches and the most diverse food industry and lakes and streams and beaches. That is probably the nicest of all the islands. However, there is some setbacks in parts of Mindanao that if you're a foreigner, because of the shit that the governments of the first world countries have done to other countries in regards to war and the corruption, where they went into other people's countries and destroyed entire populations. Some parts of Mindanao don't like foreigners, and you can't blame them for that, actually. So even though Mindanao is probably the most beautiful island, Palawan would come in second. Mindanao, you can't necessarily live there. Palawan would come in second, and I think Bohol would be third. Now, Palawan would come in second, but you better be rich if you want to live anywhere near the water in Palawan, and you better be prepared to be as far from civilization as civilization gets. Palawan is a very long, thin island. There are parts of Palawan where foreigners are not welcome also, again, because of the criminal activities that the United States government and other first world countries perpetrated on certain populations of the world. And but as far as beauty, if you were rich, and when I say rich, I mean 1 million American dollars rich. If you had that kind of money, then you could live on a white sand beach in Palawan with your woman and own a house. But if you don't have $1 million, you could live on your own island, but you'd need $1 million. Because you have to have a support boat to get back and forth from your house to civilization, and no doctors. You're going to be on an island with just 10 or 12 other houses. But I mean, we're talking about, if, as far as nice, you could live on an island where there's little white sand beaches on this coral rock island, and the coral rock could be 10 stories high, 15 stories high, and there's a white sand beach at the base where it meets the ocean, but you might be on one of 4 houses on the island. And to get the materials, all the building materials have to be shipped in. But if you had $1 million, you could do that. Now, if I was rich, like if I hit the lotto for like 50 million, or $1 million or $2 million, I would buy a house there, and I'd hire a real nurse and and a housekeeper and groundspeople, and I'd build a house on an island in Palawan. But failing short of that, I would say Bohol is your best bet. It's probably, of those three islands that I'm going to mention, Mindanao, Palawan, and Bohol. Bohol is probably the safest of the three in general. Although I've heard stories that there are some parts of Bohol that you shouldn't go to, or that are less friendly. But that was like 5 years ago. I haven't heard anything to that nature recently. And that was, well, could have been 6 years ago, actually. So, but in general, Bohol has hospitals, it has medical clinics, there's dental. If you lived in one of those houses on an island in Mindanao, you would be, what happened here? Well, what's going on here? I'm your huckleberry. Okay, I you know what I forgot? Yeah, I know that the people have me mistaken for somebody else. Thank you, Scott. So I would suggest, let me see, why is this not working? Oh, it's not working because it's off. Okay. I would suggest, out of all the places I've been, finance-wise, Bohol is affordable, number one. Safety-wise, Bohol is much safer than the beautiful places in Mindanao. Some of the most beautiful places in Mindanao are not foreigner-friendly. And again, that's because of the criminal things that our supposedly first world nations have done to those people, and of course what the people that live there, they don't like what we've done to their country. We go into other people's countries and we invade other people's countries and destroy entire populations and areas for nothing more than, well, they want control of the whole world. The people that are running the show, they want to control the whole world, and it's divide and conquer, and that's their plan. That's what they're doing, and it's working quite well. So now I will tell you that I've been to Mindanao, but only for 10 days, and only in the city of Davao. So if you look up Mindanao, is it safe? The statistics on the city of Davao are, this is a fact, that Davao City is the safest city in the Philippines to live in. Now, many reasons for that, but mostly that because Mr. Duterte comes from that city, and he has been in control of the de-escalation of crime. However, as beautiful as Davao City was, when I went there in 2016, I will tell you that there's not much to do there at all. Like nothing to do there. Like, the only thing to do in Davao City was to go to People's Park. And People's Park was, you could look it up on my Hoodwink channel. People's Park was a place where they had hundreds, literally hundreds of beautiful statues made out of fiberglass and rubber and painted bright colors. They had like a Pirates of the Caribbean statue, real life statues or bigger than life, real life elephants in plastic and rubber statues. They had what would be the Pirates of the Caribbean, a guy with a patch over his eye and a pirate's hat and all of that. And there were several hundred statues in People's Park. And the last time I spoke with Daisy about that topic, they had taken all the statues out of People's Park. No one knows why. I mean, I can't ask the government why they did that, but I think they did it to, I don't know. No one knows why they did it, but they did it. So all the beautiful statues that were once in People's Park are no longer there. So that was the main tourist attraction for the city of Davao. Now, after you get out of Davao, there's a lot of farmland. But again, you're in the middle of nowhere in most of Davao. So that would be up to you if you'd want to live there. Palawan is the city of Palawan, when you go into Palawan itself, at the dock, oh my God, that has got to be some of the most polluted water I've ever seen in my life. And all of Palawan City, when I was there, it was raining really hard. All the sewers overflowed. Palawan is built like on the side of a hill, pretty much. And it was torrential downpour one day. And what happened was, well, first of all, when you get off the boat, when you get to Palawan, it's a 4-hour trip from Coron to Palawan. The water is so disgustingly filthy that when the boat pulls in, you can't see down 2 inches of water, and it smells like you're actually inside a septic tank. That's the bay of Palawan. And the reason for that is there's thousands and thousands of businesses and houses, and all that sewage just goes straight into the bay, right where the boat pulls in, into the port. Coron is the same way. Coron, Palawan, they're both the same. But when it rained, all of everything, whatever was septic tank holding water, what they call gray water, all of that stuff overflowed into the bay, and it was like being inside a septic tank. You couldn't tell the difference. If you closed your eyes and got into a septic tank, which most of you probably have never done, but I did it lots of times. It's how I made a living. It was so dirty. Now, you go 2 miles away from the city and the water is clean because the ocean flows. So people want to live in that city. You can't go in the water. You got to go 5 miles away from the city to find a decent beach that you can go in the water, and then you have to be upwind or up current from the city. If you're down current, all that water is still going to go there. So for miles and miles, you can't go in the water there. It's pretty trippy, the Philippines. So my new Patreon member, you're welcome to ask me questions about where to live and what there is to do in different places. Fazio, I'm your Huckleberry. Salamat. Thank you, Scott. And then I want a vacation on Bohol, and I want to stay on Bantayan. Bantayan Island. You know, recently I saw, what's the name of that channel? Village People, Philippines. Recently, the lady went to Bantayan Island and blogged the island. Apparently, there's a lot of stuff to do there, but you'd never know it because the closet dweller that lived there for what, 3 years, never blogged. The Village People Philippines, they found restaurants there, and they found beaches, and they found places to go that were interesting. I mean, not for me. After watching the lady's videos, I would find nothing interesting about Palawan. And the beach that the closet dweller blogs about, with the female dogs with the giant balls, yeah, you heard it right. He on Bantayan, the female dogs have giant balls. You've heard that right. You heard it right. And then actually there's nothing. Now there is some white sand beaches there, but it's a boring beach. What I call a boring beach. A boring beach is the beach in Bantayan that the closet dweller blogs from. First of all, it's a white sand beach. Okay, it's a pretty beach. But you go into the water, the waves are small, typically, unless there's a storm. And then you go out, and you go out 400, 500, 600 feet, and the water just remains, the beach just remains sandy bottom, and that's it. It's just a sandy bottom out several hundred feet from shore. That's a boring beach. Okay. Now, in Palawan, when you find a white sand beach outside the city, you get on that beach, and it might only go out 50 or 75 feet, and then it drops off, and then you see a coral wall. That's nice, but you have to be a snorkeler or a diver to see that stuff. But all the beaches on Bantayan are boring beaches. They're all flat. They all just very gradually go out to where it gets deep, and eventually it drops off into the ocean. But you'd have to swim a few thousand feet to get to that drop. I don't know how far. Theoretically, I don't, because I looked up once on the charts. The charts here in the Philippines are not accurate, but it looks like you'd have to go out at least 1,000 feet before you saw any kind of depth. But anyway, that lady from the Village People Philippines, she blogged Bantayan Island there. She found all kinds of stuff to do there. Then the closet dweller, he went to another volcanic island in Hawaii, and he was going to vlog that. He never vlogged that. He was going to show us his mechanical skills. He never showed us his mechanical or social construction skills. But apparently he's not much of a, although he considers himself the most unique and best blogger in the Philippines, he has no content. His only content is talking about other people's wives and girlfriends. So, but I know I've been all over Bohol. I went like around the entire island at some point between 2014 and 2016. The only decent beach in Bohol is right there outside my window that's left. Now there are other beaches that look like they're white sand, but you can't go in them. The pollution level there, the fecal matter, take Anda, for instance, Anda. Okay, at one point, I went to Anda for about, 5-6 days, I think I was there. And it's supposed to have a beautiful white sand beach, and it does. The beach is gorgeous. But when you go off the beach, there's no live coral. It's just seaweed. Brown algae and brown seaweed, and maybe every 30 feet or so you might see a rock with some live coral on it. Like some live coral, not like some beautiful thing that, not fan coral or elkhorn coral. You won't see any of that by hand. And that because of the pollution. These people are dumping all this waste, and it's just going That's the west side of Bohol right there. And the tide flows from west to east. So 2,000 feet from where I'm sitting is where clean ocean water starts moving towards my house, or towards the beach behind my house. And in between here and the tip of the island is just two major hotels, which they are polluting. They are polluting what we have here. I don't know about the newest hotel, but one of the hotels has a pipe that goes from that hotel right straight onto the coral reef. And where that pipe leads to, where the beautiful coral reef leads to, it's killing the coral. And then they're going to build like 5 more hotels between here and the end of the island. But right now, this is the best beach on the island of Bohol. Now, there's another white sand beach. I forgot the neighborhood I went in. It's a white sand beach that smells like you're in a septic tank. There's no way I would have gone in the water to see what was past something. I wouldn't even put my feet in that water. That's how polluted that place was. That was the girl that I went to see. I did meet her, and she was not for me. Let's just leave it at that. She wanted, well, first of all, I wanted to see where she lived. I read on the internet that they have a beautiful shell beach there. Okay, this is the kind of stuff that when you live in the Philippines, you read, you look at the internet, you read on the internet. This is where you want to be. This beach has beautiful shells on the beach. And when I went to the beach, it was all shells, no doubt about it. But the water smelled like septic water. Okay, so the beach. White sand is caused by ultraviolets from the sun. The pollution is caused by septic water being dumped into the ocean. So pollution, now when at the water level, when you got to where the water was, off the white sand, the ultraviolets bleached the sand white. But when you got to the water, the sand was brown, dark brown. That's pollution. And so when I went to see this girl, she had told me, not in Anda, that was a different girl. God, that was beautiful, beautiful beach, but no life. After you got off the beach, everything was just seaweed. And but the second beach that I'm talking about, this is what you got to deal with when you come here to meet these girls. Oh, we have a beautiful beach, but can you swim? Because if they can't swim, I'm not interested in meeting them. I don't care what they look like. I don't care if they have a job. I don't care if they speak English. I don't care about it. If they can't swim, I'm not interested in meeting them. That's the first question I ask women. So anyway, can you swim? Yeah, I can swim. Okay, then I'll come out there. We'll go swimming. I'll bring a snorkel and a mask for you. Okay, that sounds good. She spoke English. She showed beautiful pictures of herself. And it was hot. But it was hot 10 years ago. Well, now it'd be like, she said she was 30 years old when I went there. And the pictures were from when she was in her 20s, early 20s. So I figured, well, I knew that if she was, well, she could have been that, she could have looked like that at the age of 30. But when I got there, she was tattooed from head to toe. It might have had, I don't know, 18, 20, 25, 30 tattoos. I don't know. She had tattoos running from her pants down to her ankles with squirrels running up and down her leg and shit like that. So but I didn't know that. So the reason I went to her place was she said she could swim. But first she said, I'll come to your house. she knew exactly where I lived. She said that. Maybe she did. And she goes, I'll come to your house. I said, well, okay, if you want to come to my house. She goes, but there's just one problem. This is another reason why I don't date women in the Philippines. I said, what is that problem? I knew what the problem was. Well, I'll need some transportation money, which they all do. So transportation money is reasonable. How much do you need? Well, she goes, well, I want to bring my sister with me because I don't know you. I said, okay, you can bring your sister with me. So she tells me she wanted, I really want to try to remember to get this right, but it was, could have been 1,000 pesos. And the bus from her house right to Tagbilaran City is 60 pesos, 60. And then the jeepney from Tagbilaran City to here is 50 pesos. So that would be 110 times 2, 220. So, I mean, if she wanted 500 pesos, that would have been reasonable. So, for transportation, I'm gonna pay her transportation here and back. So I said to her, well, the bus is only 60 pesos. Oh, but we're gonna take a cab. And I also have to pay for a tricycle to get from my house to the bus terminal. So I said, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna come to your house and we'll go swimming on your beach. And I'll do videos for my YouTube account. No, we'll meet you in the city. And what they want to do is they want to meet you at the ICM mall, at the food store, and they want to go shopping for their family. They want you to pay for that. That's standard procedure here. So I said, no, I'll meet you at your house. So I tell her I'll meet her there. And I took a van from the city. That was 190 pesos. 100 pesos or 90 pesos. It was 90. So the van, an air-conditioned van, is 90 pesos and takes 45 minutes to this girl's place. And the bus is 60 pesos and takes an hour and 20 minutes. So I go there and I texted her. She told me what stop to get off. The van driver knew the church that she lived across the street from. And I get off and she's not there. Well, an hour went by since the time I told her what time I'd be there. She's not there. So I wait at the church for a little while, and then I said, you know what? I walked around a little bit. It wasn't the nicest neighborhood. There wasn't much to see. It was far from the beach. I said, I'm going to go home. So I got on the bus stop. As soon as I got on the bus stop, there was 2 girls across the street. Michael! And I looked, and I'm going, oh, my God. That's not the girl in the pictures. But so I said hello and I went over there. And she had tattoos from head to toe. And she was borderline obese, okay? I don't want to go out with a fat 30-year-old woman from the Philippines. I don't care that I'm overweight. I don't care about that at all. So I said hello to her, and normally New York Mike Fazio would have said hello, saw all those tattoos, and I would have went back across the street and got on the next bus to go home. I'll go someplace else on another bus. So it was still early. It was only 8:30 in the morning. So I says, all right. So I said, well, she goes, I want you to meet my family before we go to the beach. I don't really want to meet your family. I didn't want to meet your family when I met you online. We didn't talk about that. We talked about going to the beach. That's what we talked about. When they want you to meet their family, that means they want you to bring food back for the family for breakfast or lunch or dinner. They want to go shopping first. So I said, well, all right. And I put my hand out. She goes, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to get a tricycle to go to your house. No. My house is here. So the bus stop that let me off, and then I walked across the street to the church. The bus stop where the bus I mean, the van actually let me off on the curb. Her house was 6 feet away from where the van let me off. But she had told me that she has to take a tricycle to get to the bus. So that was a lie. We're already on our way home. Mentally, we're already done here. So I said, you know what, let me go in and meet her family and say hello. And I did. I took out my tablet. I had a Samsung tablet that I was using. I think I was using that as my phone. But I took it out, and her sister said, can I see that? So I said, yeah, and I gave it to her. Her sister she had, I don't know, there were 21 people in the room that she brought me in. 21 people. I'm mentioning that for a reason. And so the sister is looking at my tablet. She's talking to me. 2 or 3 other people are talking to me. They spoke English. And I said to her, you know, not for nothing, but the tide, I looked up the tide for this area. The tide is going to be high at 9:30. I want to go swimming. Yeah, we'll go swimming, but first we'll have breakfast. We'll have a barbecue. And I'm going, blubber and a blow. Oh God, she was. I don't know that I have a. I don't think I have a. I don't think I took a picture of her. She was disgusting. Tattoos all over the body. I never dated. I never liked a woman with tattoos. Probably never gonna. But I said, well, what do you mean we're gonna have a? Yeah, we like to have a barbecue for breakfast. I said, well, all right, if you want to have a barbecue. Just one problem. What's that? She goes, well, we have to go to the store and get foods. I said, well, who's going to be coming to the barbecue? Everybody, my family. We'll go to the store now. We'll go get food for everybody. So I'm not paying. I knew this girl exactly. I was in the house 6 or 7 minutes, and she wants me to buy food for 21 people. Soda, barbecue, potato chips, whatever. I'm ready to leave. I was in the house. I wasn't in the house 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And the girl who had my tablet, the sister that had my tablet, said, oh, can I have this? And I look at her, I said, what do you, she goes, can you give this to me? I said, may I have that back? So she gave it back to me. I put it in my bag, the black bag I carry. I reached down, I grabbed my backpack, I put my bag on my shoulder, and I says, I'll see you later. Have a nice day. So I was not in that house 8 minutes. So I went to the beach there because it was supposed to be high tide at 9:30. And when I got to where the water was, it was low tide. Apparently they got it mixed up. I don't know. Might have been high tide where I live here, but it was low tide there. I don't know. You go on the internet here, and the information on the internet here could be outdated. Could be 10 years ago. Like March 12th, 10 years ago, the tide was high there. I don't know. But it was so dirty, the water there. Beach was white. It was a shell beach, but it was so dirty. It was disgusting to where, and there were children playing in the water like that, like there was nothing wrong. And I was standing at the edge of the shore, and the houses started. There was a little beach, not a very big beach. And there was a mangrove forest to the right. and then there was like a shell beach where the children were playing in the water. They had water pistols, and they were shooting each other with the water. And when I went, it was all septic water. Every sewer in that town and every house along the waterway all had outflow into the bay. So I'm standing there, and I leaned up against a wall that was like the houses were about 7 feet higher than the beach. And in the wall were pipes that stuck out of the wall 2 or 3 inches, like 3-inch septic water pipes. I know what it is because I could see when I turned over to the left, I could see the gray slime in the pipe, that septic water pipe. So I walk away from the pipe towards the shell a little bit, like 2 meters, as I'm 2 meters away, and apparently someone flushed the toilet. So, and I was just, the pipe was just like almost right over me, right over my shoulder. But if I was still standing there, the water would have splashed, and raw sewage came out. Fecal matter and urine and toilet paper. So when I walked 2 meters away, someone flushed the toilet, and it just sprayed all over the place. And the children never stopped playing in the water. I left. I went to another. I did a video of the mangroves. Oh, we have a blackout. We have a blackout. Okay, so that means that if I shut the screen off, I might have 5 minutes of video left. So let's take these glasses out of here. This worked out well. Mein Hapon. Good morning. Yeah, that worked out nice. It's a little bit ugly, uglier than I thought it was going to be. But we built a bridge. I think I still have the internet. Yeah, I do. Okay, so that's one bridge that we built. And there's the second bridge here. That's the second one. That's nice. That one's, oh, that's a beautiful thing. We have Scott's double retainer. So this is gonna shut off any minute because two, not one, two battery backups, both that say they're gonna last a half an hour, right from the factory, right out of the store. One they last 3 minutes. Two lasts 5.5 or 6 minutes. So you have about a minute of Michael Fazio left. And that's it. So I'm going to probably go outside and do something outside. Because if the power doesn't come back on, I'm going to say umping Permy in advance because it looks like we're gonna have an interruption. Scott says, of course she can swim. She has insulating blubber and a blowhole. This was, oh, and she had children too. She forgot to tell me that. Apparently, this is what they do here in the Philippines. They will tell you that they don't have children if their children live in another room besides their room, which doesn't make any sense, right? So if you ask a girl if she has children, she'll say no. If the children, the baby, let's say she has a baby. This happened twice that they said they didn't have children. And twice it was because the children the baby lived in the mother's bedroom because the mother took care of the baby and the girl went to work during the day. She had a job. Or the children don't live with her, they live with the mother. Now, 3 times. 3 times. When I dated a year, almost a year before I found out she had children. So if the children live in another house besides the house that they live in, and you ask them if they have children, they say no. And then when you find out that they have children, the reason they told you they didn't have children is because the baby either lives in the mother's bedroom, or the children, whatever age they are, live in a separate house. So you have to ask like 6 questions. Do you have children? No. Oh, the power came back on. Nice. Okay, do you have children? No. Well, do you have children that live in your mother's house? Ah, yes. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. This is the Philippines, baby. And wait, we have people coming to the Philippines that think that they're going to somehow, what they see on the internet is somehow what the Philippines is all about. You see me talk to everybody, right? I say hello to everybody. But that's what you have to limit your conversation to. Good morning. How are you? Very nice. That's good to hear. You have a nice day. End it right there. End it. Don't stop. I can stop. I mean, they all, because I'm a working man, they all have a lot more respect for me than, well, there are 2 other foreigners that I know. They're both way more successful than me. I mean, they have beautiful houses and beautiful cars and stuff like that. But they don't even know the name of the people that live next door to them. They don't walk down the block. They don't talk to. I have a friend of mine that's been on this block. Well, I'm here 7 years. And he was here for 2 before that. 9 years. He doesn't even know the name of the people next door to him. 9 years he's here. Doesn't know the name of the children or the woman that lives next door to him. And my other neighbor, he does not either. He knows the name of 2 men that do some work for him around the house. That's it. And if he walks down the block, nobody says hello to him. They're not mad at him or anything like that. They know who he is, but they just don't talk. With me, I talk to everybody, but you have to really understand that keeping to yourself in the Philippines is the best way to be. And even when somebody does something that you don't like, have to say okay, because can you argue with a rock? No, you can't argue with a rock. You are not gonna you won't win an argument here with these people. It's not a question of who's right or wrong, but you just won't win an argument with them. When I stopped giving out candy to the children for many weeks, people asked me why no more candy? Why? You give. And I said I gave enough, no more. And there was a reason for that. I'm not going to put it out on the internet. My friends know why. It was a really simple thing that caused me to realize that no matter how much you give, it's not enough, and it just keeps increasing. And enough is enough. No matter what it is that you think about the Philippines, no matter how much you give. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. This is the truth. I'll give you an example. In the 7 years that I'm in this location, within 50 feet of where I'm sitting, easily I have given out way over $3,000, possibly $4,000 in stuff, period. A rice cooker that I don't need anymore. I had a small rice cooker and it worked fine, but Daisy and I bought a bigger rice cooker because then there was two of us, so I give that away. Clothes that I brought back from New York twice, and I used the clothes to wrap up some of the stuff I brought back from New York in boxes. I gave all of those clothes away because they don't fit me anymore. That was when I weighed 150 pounds. I had boxes of clothes from the 1960s and 70s. Sneakers, dozen pair of sneakers. Slippers, I bought a couple of times slippers from most of the children on the block. For Christmas, to spend 10,000 pesos for toys and another 10,000 pesos for foods, easy, that much. Easter, the same thing, and the fiesta, the same thing. So talking about 25,000 pesos plus for those three events each year. So that's just in that alone, until recently, that's 150,000 pesos. That's $3,000 in pasalubong. And then the candy for the children, somewhere between 500 and 1,000 pesos a month. So one particular guy, I gave him a pair of sneakers. I paid 800 pesos for the sneakers, but then when I got them home and wore them, they hurt my feet. So I gave them to a guy. So one day I asked this guy to help me move a piece of wood 20 feet. He was already working on the house next door. And he said to me, yeah, you give me 50 pesos. I said, wait a second. For Christmas, for Easter, for Fiesta, I give you a bag of spaghetti sauce, a kilo of spaghetti, and a bottle of rum, and 2 packs of cigarettes, right? Every Christmas and Easter, and yes. I says, and you want 50 pesos to help me move a piece of wood 20 feet? Yes. I said, why? He goes, because you are rich. I said, you and me, we're done. So I continued to give him stuff during Easter and Christmas, and that, because that was 4 years ago. I continued to give him stuff during Easter, Christmas, and New Year's also. So, and Fiesta, I continued. And his children, every day they got 8 pieces. Every day, his 4 children got 8 pieces of candy, and he would come and get it if the children weren't around, and then I'd give him 2 pieces of candy. That's 10 pesos a day. That's 300 pesos a month just for him. And I asked him, even after he wanted 50 pesos, just to keep peace on the block. Just because the guy thinks that he deserves it, and this is how they think. If you give it to them every day, then they deserve it every day. And by taking it away from them, you're somehow, not looked up to as you were when you're giving. So I stopped. And a simple thing. I gave him a bunch of lumber. And I said, you take this away, all the scrap from when I was up on the roof. Yeah, okay. And I put it on my neighbor's property outside my fence. And he wants the lumber. He needs the lumber, but apparently he had enough lumber at his house that he didn't need it that day to do any cooking. So day one, you gonna take that lumber? Yeah, I'll get it. 2 or 3 times that day, take the lumber. It's not on my property. He knows it's not on my property because he knows everybody. It's not on my property. I put it on my neighbor's property. So that went on for 7 days. On the 7th day, which was right around New Year's, he didn't take the lumber. No, that was December 8th, because it was somebody's birthday, December 8th. He didn't take the lumber, so I said to him, you got to take the lumber. Yeah, I'll get to it. Like he got pissed off. He goes, I got to cook for the party. So there was 100 people at the party. So I go to the party, and I said to the women, is such and such, is he cooking for everybody? He's not here to cook. He's here for free drinks and food, free room. And that's what most people go to parties for, because they want to eat and drink. So that's normal. So at the party, I says, yo, why don't you go take that lumber? Oh, he got pissed off. I'm relaxing. So I'm going to tell you, if you don't take that lumber, you're not going to be happy with what I do. And he goes, I don't give a shit. You know, he had a few drinks in him. I said, okay. So I go. That was before the party. I told him that. But he had already had a few drinks because the party starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was working until 5. So at the party, I said, "You're gonna go," and then he got twisted at the party because he was twisted, drinking. So I go. I told him in the afternoon, "You're not gonna like what I do." So I took the lumber when I got home from the party at like 8 o'clock at night. I went to bed and I woke up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I took the lumber and I gave it to somebody else. I put it someplace else. I moved it. Well, the next day, December 9th, I was up on the roof and I made more lumber. More stuff. And he goes, you're going to give me that lumber? I said, no. Why? I said, because you didn't take the other wood. Oh, he went, oh. And he went like in his little mental capacity, he got upset. He didn't take the lumber for 7 days, so now I'm going to give the lumber to his best friend. And he got upset. Emotionally, he got upset. He couldn't take the pressure. So I put the lumber on my property, inside my fencing, and then when I got it all together at the end of the day, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I put the pile of lumber outside the fence. And I gave it to a different man. It was his lumber. And I come in here, and I'm looking out the window, and he grabbed a giant handful of lumber, as much as he could carry, and ran around the block with the lumber. So he stole lumber from his own friend. Now, I don't know why he didn't take that lumber for 7 days, but he actually stole lumber from his friend, his best friend. So when he came back, because he don't live far away, he came running back down the block, and he came running around the corner, and I was standing there by the lumber, and he went like this, like that, like he didn't know why he was there. So I waited for the other man to come back, and I gave him the lumber. I said, you take this lumber, take it now. So he had to make 4 trips, so I stayed out by the fence until the guy the second man got all the lumber. Why would he get mad after I gave him tens of thousands of pesos in free shit for him, clothes for his children, shoes for his, sandals for his children, candy for his, every day his kid, if nobody else got candy, his kids, he would stop by and grab 10 pieces of candy, 2 for him and 8 for his children. If nobody stopped by, if nobody came by for a few days because it was raining, I give him extra candy. I give him 20 pieces of candy for him and his kids. Why would he get mad at me? Because they don't think like rational people here. This is what it's like living in the Philippines. So did I have an argument with him? No. I just told him he couldn't have the wood. I never had 2 words with him after that. He goes, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." So when the next time I saw him, he looked at the floor. But that was back on December 9th. So whenever I go by him, he looks at the floor. I don't care. He doesn't say anything anymore, but that's what it's like living here. So he's held a grudge January 9th, February, March, April, May, June 9th. 6 months after I gave him probably 30,000 pesos in free shit. He's held a grudge that I gave his best friend the lumber that I was going to give him. And that's what it's like living in the Philippines. It's better that you don't give anybody anything. Now I give my landlord all the lumber. All of it. And she uses it for cooking. I should have just did that from the beginning. But I have to bring the lumber to her house. So the other way, they picked it up at my fence. Not a problem. I just walk it over to her house. But you don't have no idea what it's like living here. You cannot interact. This is a fishing community. 95% of everybody over 40 years old has never seen the inside of a school. Ever. And probably 40% of everybody over the age of 40 doesn't speak a word of English. Nothing. Zero. It's not easy living here. So for me, it's okay because I do have some friends here. Some Filipino friends, a few. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Three people I could ask for a favor and they'd help me out without asking me for something in return, and a few foreigner friends, but you're not going to come here and socialize like you did when you were in America. You're not going to make friends here like that. It's not a question of whether you would like to or not. You're in a different world here. So everybody says hello. Nobody says anything blah blah blah. Nobody runs there. Nobody's mad. But now if he ever decides to say hello, of course I'll say hello to him. But there's no more free shit. That's it. It's over. There's nothing went out for Christmas or New Year's. Well, yeah, no, actually I think I did give Christmas and New Year's to just a few people. But nothing after that. After Christmas and New Year's, there was no more candy, no more spaghetti, no more rum, and it might have stopped Christmas. I forget. I really don't remember. Because even on New Year's, I was giving certain people stuff. But after that, no more. No more candy, no more spaghetti, no more cigarettes, no more bottles of rum. Nothing. And I save 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 pesos a month on average. And I spend that on something else. But you are not going to come to the Philippines and make friends. It's just not going to happen. The people that work for you will be respectful and they might be friendly with you. I'm scratching because my leg is healing and it's very itchy. It's really itchy a lot. Like I need to go out and change the dressing. That's how much it's itching. So, let's see. You're not going to come here. It's not like you're going to come here and socialize with people on what they call your social status. That ain't going to happen. Unless you're interacting with other foreigners. And although I get along, like there's two men that I'm looking at across the street right now. I know who they are. I've known them, one for 7 years and one for about 2 years. I get along really well with them. You know, we say hello. And that's it. And that's all there is to it. Because one day, this goes back 2 or 3 years, but they always got possible about no more free stuff. But about 2 or 3 years ago, I said to one of them, I was pulling the weeds out It was before I brought the weed whacker back from America, by hand. And I said to him, "You want to give me a hand?" No, no, I don't do that. So for all the rum and all the cigarettes and all the spaghetti and all the sauce I gave you, you will not help me? No, I don't do that kind of work. Okay, he's still got Pasalubong just like everybody else. Free shit, but no more. So now that I don't give free shit out anymore, he took it a little personal. He took it a little personal. He'd rather not say hello to me when he sees me, but if we walk past each other, he will say, "Hello, Mike." But if he can look down at the floor from a distance, from when he's across the street over there, he'll look down. Because I stopped giving him free shit. But he's never, ever, ever offered to help me, or when I asked him to help me pull out the weeds. "Oh, no, no, I don't do that. I don't do that." Okay. So it's a one-way trip here. It's a one-way street here in the Philippines. You only give. I have been taking the jeepney for 7 years to Tagbilaran and back. And you know, you pay to get on the Jeep. I know every jeepney driver, every conductor, and no one has ever said, "Mike, the jeepney's on me today," you know, the ride. And for the reason I mention this is because until recently, right around December, early January, every jeepney driver and every jeepney conductor got 2 or 3 or 4 pieces of candy each. So that was another 8 or 10 pesos of candy every time I got on the jeepney to the city and every time I got on the jeepney back. So if I do that 5 times a month, that's 50 pesos a month. For 10, 12 months, that's 600 pesos a year. For 7 years, 6 times 7, that's 4,000 pesos of free candy. 4,000 pesos. That's $80 in candy. And not one time has any jeepney driver said, "Mike, it's on me today. Thanks for the candy." Not once. It's a one-way street here. There's no reciprocity. There's nothing coming back at you. It's just not going to happen. And it took me 7 years to realize that it never was going to be like that. And now that I know it, I still get along well with everybody. And one of my friends explained to me, I told him what happened, and he said, "Well, they're going to still try, just don't give. Just don't give." Daisy said the same thing a long time ago, years ago. She told me, "Don't give these people anything. They're never going to do anything for you." I just didn't believe it. That sums up all my ex-girlfriend's parents in the Phils. That's a different Scott. Yeah, it's just the one-way street. Now, it's just like that. And if you don't give, they're okay with that too, but they would prefer to ask. And that's what my friend who's been here for 30 years, he's been here now. He said they'll ask, and if you don't give, they'll still be okay with you, but they got to try. So it's just the way it is here. So you have these expectations to come to the Philippines, and everybody's going to be they're going to be your friend as long as you're giving. They'll be friendly with you as long as you don't cause a problem. And the problem is, had that guy when he went sideways a little bit on me mentally, he lost his brain. For a couple of minutes, he was mumbling to himself and everything. He lost his cognitive ability because instead of, when he didn't take the wood that was on the side, that he was supposed to take for 7 days, when I decided to give it to his best friend, out he got mad. I don't know why he got mad, and I don't care. He could be mad. He could not be mad. He could do whatever he wants. I don't care about that. He's not malicious or anything like that, but he's just mad. I don't know why he got mad. I don't care. But you are not coming here and well, I'll tell the story about that. I wanted to rent a little piece of land 2 properties away. I wanted to put my cargo containers on that land 60 feet from where my property is, which would have been a bear to get it there. I have another place for it closer now, and to rent that much property to a Filipino would cost $20 a month, 1,000 pesos a month. So I went on the property, and I had to talk to Grandma. I didn't know she was. They have these tribes. They have a compound. Each family has their own little area. Not all families, but most Filipino families have one person owns the land from 100 years ago, and then all the relatives, 60 or 70 people, will live on the property. So 2 doors down, there's 4 there, no, 3 there, and 6 there. That's 7, 8 with Grandma, 12 with him, with Junior, 16. There might be 20 people on that property, maybe. So you have to come and talk to Grandma. So I'm thinking that she's going to give me the property for 1,000 pesos a month. So she said she speaks little English, but there was an interpreter. Michael wants to rent the property to put the cargo containers there. How much, Pila? How much? He wants to know how much. So she said 5,000. No. Grandma, no. And then they started talking in Visaya. She goes, okay, 10,000. So I looked at her. This was back in last October. This was before I stopped the pasalubong. She was also one of the recipients of a kilo of sauce and a kilo of spaghetti. She was also a recipient for 7 years. All whatever pasalubong got, she was always next door, and she always got, because she's an elderly person. She said 10,000. I said 10,000 pesos. Are you kidding? No. And I said, well, if it was a Filipino, you would charge 1,000 pesos. And all of the people started laughing. And I said, so I thought I was your friend. Yes, you are. So why are you charging me 10,000 pesos? Because you are rich. You are Santa Claus. There's no more Santa Claus. So I had decided before I stopped giving out the free shit for the holidays that this holiday was going to be the last holiday that I was going to give it out. And it was. So because I gave for 7 years, they want more. So they wanted 10 times more. I wasn't going to build something there. I was just going to rent out to put a container on the property. 2 containers. 16 by 20 foot. That's all I needed was 16 by 20 foot. So I only just recently said hello to her because she was mad at me that I turned down her offer to charge me 10 times as much for the property than she would charge a local Filipino. She was mad at me because I said, no, I don't want the property. I didn't want the property when I walked over to her house, but it was offered to me to talk to Grandma. That's how it is here. You can do no wrong here without, you can do no right here without, if you stop doing everything that's right, and then they're mad at you because you stopped offering them free shit. The more they, precisely, the more you give, the more they expect, unfortunately. That's the way it is here. It's not complicated either. This Scott man, is just confirming the way it is to live here in the Philippines. And it's, thank you, Scott. It's not just here in Bohol. It's not just here in this fishing village. It's everywhere. It's systemic. It's the hotel Golden Prince that I lived in 2 months, 39,000 pesos a month, $1,000 a month. But they gave you, for my apartment rental, it was a huge apartment. Had a refrigerator, had a microwave, had air conditioning that worked. I was on the 7th floor, had a beautiful view of the city. I had a woman come in 3 times a week to change the sheets and sweep the floor. All the toothpaste, soap, shampoo, and health products for your hair, Q-tips, toothbrushes, anything you needed, and the sheets, everything, and free breakfast for 2. So it was $1,000 a month, but you got a lot for it, and a secure building. So for 2 months, and then 2 weeks before I rented it on a monthly basis, I gave them $2,500. On the last day I was there, I had to wait for my ship. I was leaving on a certain ship to come to Bohol. It was like I think it was the 3 o'clock ship. And it was because I had to meet somebody here at 5 o'clock. So I took the 3 o'clock ship. So on my last day, after giving the owner of the hotel $2,500, that's US dollars, I said, I want to sit down and have lunch. And the owner stopped in to say goodbye to me. But he didn't stop in to say goodbye to me. He did not. He stopped in to screw me after I paid him $2,500. It was raining outside, light, a drizzle. And this prick, the owner of the Golden Prince Hotel, go tell him I said so. This prick sat down with me to have lunch and said, Mike, well, I said to him, I ordered their 9-inch hamburger. Their 9-inch hamburger. And I said, you'll buy this hamburger for me today for free? For a thank you? Oh, no, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. If I gave everybody a hamburger, I would go broke. Meanwhile, he owns 3 hotels. They don't have any children. And the family has owned the hotels for 80 years. And you can't get a room in the hotel for a month in advance. So I said to him, you won't buy me the hamburger? No. Cannot do that. I will go broke. I said, I just gave you $2,500 in cash money. Yes, thank you for that, he says. So he goes, but I stopped. I wanted to talk to you, Mike, like he's my fucking friend now. After he did that, he insulted me. He could have bought me a fucking hamburger. So he says, did you see it was raining outside? I said, yeah, it's drizzling, just a very light rain. He goes, you shouldn't go to Bohol today. You're gonna have to be in the rain. You should wait till tomorrow. So this motherfucker could get 1 more day's rent out of me for 1,500 pesos for the night, single night. He's telling me not to go out in a drizzle rain. That's how much they give a shit about you here in the Philippines. Now, this guy, one of the richest people in Cebu, his 90-year-old parents own the Golden Prince Hotel since they built it back in the 50s. That's right, Andrew. So, and now while I was there, they had the new plan. They also owned a bank and a pawn shop next door, and they owned the property next door. So they were changing the Golden Prince from 7 floors, that I was on the 7th floor, plus that had the roof. They were changing it from 7 to 12 floors, and then they took the property over next door, and that was going to be 12 floors also. And so they were doubling it from 54 rooms, it was going to 150 rooms, something like that. And this is the guy who couldn't buy me a hamburger. They spent I don't know how many billions of pesos, and he couldn't buy me a hamburger. And that was just one of 3 hotels that they had scheduled to start building that year, back in 2014. And he couldn't buy me a hamburger. And the hamburger, you know how much the hamburgers were, the 9-inch hamburgers? 185 pesos, $4. And he couldn't give me back $4 of my $2,500. No, they don't give a shit. It's a one-way street here. Get used to it. That's it. That's the way it was. And on top of that, this guy, he was married to a woman. All right, his parents lived there. They were in their 80s at the time. They had 3 children, the parents. All the children were in their mid-40s to early 50s. Of the 3 children, the 2 men, well, first of all, they all went to church on Sunday. And the hotel was basically a sexpat hotel. That's where you go. I didn't know that when I rented the place, but that's where you go to meet. That is the nicest main sexpat hotel in Cebu. So they had prostitutes and who was coming in and out day and night, and the owner would sit down with them and have breakfast and lunch. He was a very personable person, but he went to church every Sunday. Every Sunday. And he would come in to the breakfast on Sunday morning and say, would anybody like a ride to church with me? My wife and I are going to church. What he was really saying is that you come to church with us, you give money to the church too. You don't just give money to me, you give to the church. So the church could give it to the Vatican, because the church doesn't do jack shit for its own people. So he had no children, and either his brother or his sister had no children. And then one of the 3 children, the children of the 80-year-old people, one of them had 1 son. So there is nobody else to give the money to, and apparently they had enough money saved up in the bank to build 3 hotels. They're all done now. I was back there with Daisy back in 2019, I think. All the hotels are built. I went in there. Actually went in there. I was going to have lunch there. I was going to have the buffet, but they didn't have the buffet that day that I went there. They have good food. Oh, the food there is top world-class chefs. But that's not the point. The point is they will give you nothing back here. It's just you give, and you give. You get nothing back. Nothing. Don't expect it. And they won't be mad at you if you don't give. You don't have to give. They just, they can get it, they can get it. But they won't be mad at you if you don't give. No, I have to go wash my leg. No, I need to change the dressing. It's been on since like 10 o'clock last night. It's supposed to be changed twice a day. It's just itchy because it should have been changed this morning, but I got a late start. So I'll just go take a bath and change it now. I think I'll shave too. And And putting cream on it, no, that would make it better. That would just, no, I wouldn't do that. When you clean it up with fresh water and I soak my foot in a 5-gallon bucket with water, and then all the dead skin comes off. I'm past the cream, actually. I put cream on it last night, but not yesterday. In the daytime, no. Now when I dress it now, at whatever time it is, at 1 o'clock, I won't put a bandage back on and I won't put cream on it. It's to the point where it's just another 5 or 6 weeks and it'll be done. Out of 7 months, 8 months, it'll be better. But it's around the border where all the skin was raw. It was raw flesh. It was no skin. It was meat that bled and leaked clear fluid and yellow fluid for up until no, not today, but up until maybe 2 days ago, it was still leaking. And that was when I was standing up. So now I have my leg elevated, so it's probably, but no, putting more cream on it, if it's itchy, what you need to do is you need to get all the dead skin off of it. That would be the worst possible thing to do to it. All right, then, thanks, Scott. Oh, they have, oh yeah, no, there's no discounts here. When I went into Build-A-Wear to buy the pipes last week, they know me there. Believe me when I tell you they know me there. First of all, because I make videos, but they all know who I am because I go into the office to ask them special orders, and I have other things that I might need supplies for. And I went into the office and I said to the lady, look, within the next week, I'm going to spend about one order somewhere around 60,000 pesos. No, excuse me. Somewhere around 50,000 pesos. My next order will be somewhere around 50,000 pesos, I think. And she said, I said, can I get a discount? No, sir. I said, well, how much money do I have to spend here to get a discount? I mean, I'm building a hotel. Do you want my business? Or should I go to Cebu when things open up and rent a truck and put, because in Cebu the materials are a lot cheaper, put the materials on a truck and haul the truck here? It would be cheaper for me to go out and spend like $8,000 or $10,000 for one order than to buy it here and rent, like spend $8,000 in Cebu, and the money I saved there, I can put that material on a truck, put the truck on the ferry, and bring the ferry to Bohol. So she says, well, sir, at this time, because of COVID, we're not giving discounts. Now, it used to be, if you spent 60,000 pesos, which was $1,200, you got 3% off the bill, which is 3%, but at least it's a discount. But now they're no longer giving discounts. So no matter how much you spend, this is what they're going to give you, nothing. And his friend that wanted to buy a hotel, there's no discount. There's nothing. I told you about my batteries. I bought 2 batteries and they didn't last but 3 years. And then I had to buy 2 more batteries. They gave me on a $380 order, they gave me 40 cents off the order. 40 cents, 20 pesos. On a $380 order. No, it's 15 pesos, 30 pesos, 60 cents on a $380 order. I argued with the owner of the business to give me a discount because fucking one, the batteries she sold me were shit batteries. They didn't last 3 years. And number two, I'm buying new batteries from you and you won't give me back my core charge because you're not taking cores. You could leave them there and she'll sell them to a junkyard, but she won't give you 5 pesos for them even though they're worth 700 pesos. Give me a discount. So she, after arguing with her, talking with her, can discuss, after 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 9, she gave me 15 pesos off of each battery. 60 cents on a $380 order. It was $382 or $380. She gave me, it was $380.60, and she gave me it for $380 even in pesos. They don't give you shit here. You only give the one-way street. Anyway, these people, that's right. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to actually go outside. I think I'm going to shave, and then I'm going to redress this wound, and then I'm going to put the rest of the glue on the rest of the glasses, and then I'm going to put my products that I wanted to put in mothballs. I think I'm going to put a couple of things in mothballs. It looks like it's going to get ready to rain, so I'm going to get outside and get this done. Thanks for stopping by. And you people, you go to other people's channels. They tell you how much to get an apartment. They don't tell you nothing about the Philippines. They tell you nothing about the Philippines. They're afraid. I don't know why. All right, Andrew, you know what I could do? Can I call you up, Andrew? Nice listening. Thank you for the intelligent question and the intelligent you added to the conversation. And not just because you confirmed what I said, but because you know what it's like living here. But of course, I'll say thank you to intelligence, but I won't say thank you to stupidity. And Scott added to the conversation in an intelligent manner. No, to shave it'll take an hour. I'll call you up first. I don't care if it rains, I'm going to take a bath. All right, so everybody, thank you very much. I'm going to call Andrew in about 3 minutes. And thanks, Scott, for that great idea you gave me. And Scott, the other Scott, thank you for stopping by. And have a nice day, everybody. Umping Permy from Michael Fazio in the Philippines, which means take care always. Umping Permy from Michael Fazio in the Philippines, baby.